Okay, so this is going to be a little bit different of a video than my usual thing. Um, I just wanted to talk about how intermittent fasting worked for me and what I do. It may not necessarily work for you if you're a fragile diabetic. If you have a lot of carbs on a daily basis, it may take a while for you to get used to it. I know it took years for me to kind of figure out where my body was at. But I started working out in 2014. I think it was about October or November 2014. Before that, I was a skinny fat person. So I had a chubby face, chubby belly, and skinny legs and a big butt. I hated it. I mean, I would try different things to change a look. So I would always like shave my beard. I never had a beard. I would have like a little goatee, so that kind of pulled my face in a little bit. I would wear like super, super tight underwears just to pull my butt in. I would pull the underwear up so it would tuck I would do all kind of weird shit. Um, but once I started working out, of course, when you just start working out, you're like, your results are quick, but then they stop. So I started working out and immediately people are like, are you on steroids? You're jacked, like you're big. And I was following a lot of the videos on YouTube that were saying, during bulking season, you can eat whatever you want and just lift real hard and heavy and all that stuff. And I started doing it and I saw the result, but I didn't know enough to realize that it was not where I wanted to be. And so what ended up happening was my butt became bigger because it's one of my dominant muscles for some reason. That's why my thighs have a hard time growing because my butt, I mean, in theory, that's what our butts are supposed to do, take the load off our knees and stuff. But yeah, mine was doing too much because my thighs would never grow, my calves would never grow, and I still had that gut. But anyway, so I decided that I was going to start researching different things. And I was the kind of person, I didn't like eating in the morning because it makes me too hungry throughout the day. So I was naturally skipping breakfast and eating late. And people would say, that's not good for your stomach and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, backtrack even before that. Ever since I became a teenager, I had an issue. My body had an issue regulating blood glucose. So unlike a diabetic where their body is not like producing insulin or not enough, I had an overproduction. So let's say I had, I don't know, cookies. I would get so much energy and then I would crash. I would have to keep eating carbs in order to not feel dizzy all the time because I just constantly felt tired, constantly. And it got so bad that I remember I was in classes one time, and this is when I was about 26. I was doing a CNA course, and I had coffee with all the stuff in it, whatever. And about an hour after, I felt like I was going to throw up. I felt so weak. And every time I would go to a doctor, they were like, you should go to the ER because this is not normal. And the one time they gave me a glucometer to check my blood sugar throughout the day. Anyway, after years passed, and I used to be very miserable when I'm hungry, by the way. People used to hate it. I would get muscle cramps and stuff if I didn't eat on time. So anyway, fast track to 2018. I was too big. Okay, I was too big. And yes, there was a lot of muscle under it, but because it's a lot of fat, I just look like a bigger version of my skinny fat self. Like I didn't really have much anything. I always had arms, you know. So, but I also have skinny wrists, which means my forearms are never really going to grow much. Um, so anyway, I had the skinny legs and I hated it. So I had tragedy, a lot of tragedy in 2018. So both my parents got terminally ill out of nowhere and I couldn't eat because I couldn't visit them. Everyone decides to message me now that I'm making a video. But anyway, um, so then I started, I couldn't eat. I just had no appetite. So my appetite is directly linked to my emotional health. So if tragedy just happened, within the next 2 minutes, I lose my appetite for days. If something good happens, then I start eating a lot. So it's directly connected to my psychological, emotional health. So I could not eat. I couldn't eat. I had to eat a lot of junk food just so I could make up for the calories. But I also loved coffee. Like I drank a lot of coffee during this time, and it would make my anxiety so bad. I would be shaking all the time, shaking and tired. But I noticed like I was starting to get a lot of definition in places that I've never had. I mean, I was very vascular here. I had the separation between my pecs, which I don't usually have because I don't have very broad shoulders. And it's hard to work this area when your shoulders are not very wide. I had abs, I had obliques, I had all kind of definition. My back was amazing. And I couldn't figure out how I didn't lose all that muscle because I couldn't eat. And that's when I learned that a lot of times fasting, when you fast properly, your body produces a lot of human growth hormone, which is also very muscle sparing. Now, what I couldn't understand was that because I was so stressed out, I know I was producing a lot of cortisol, but still, I wasn't really losing anything. In fact, I have a scale that I use to check my muscle and body fat percentage. And at the time, I was down to 128 pounds of muscle. And when I was when I was bigger, I was 133 pounds. So I only lost 5 pounds within 4 months of starving. Um, and I also went and got my testosterone checked, and it was actually higher than average, which they kept asking me if I was taking testosterone boosters. They don't work anyway, so I don't know why they asked me that. But anyway, so I started once all that tragedy went away, then my appetite started coming back, and I didn't want to lose the progress I made. So that's when I started to try to normalize fasting. Now, for me, I used to do fasting 7 days a week, and I would drag it out from the night before, which is around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and drag it out till about 2, and then I would eat my first meal. Now, one of the mistakes I was making at first was I would eat anything when I break my fast. That's horrible because your body might just hold on to whatever you just ate. And if it's crappy, you're going to hold on to a bunch of fat. Two, you don't want your body feeling like you're starving it. So you have to eat enough calories. How I tested this theory, during COVID-19, I had no interest in cooking, but I still love working out and I still fasted. What I did to make up for the calories, because again, when I eat clean, my body doesn't react properly. I just want to eat all the time, and then I end up eating a bunch of messed up calories or too many calories. I started having a lot of Popeyes to make up for the calories, and that was the best my body ever looked. Now, what I learned about that, it's not a matter of the Popeyes that made me look that way, is because after I broke my fast with something healthy, I could almost eat anything I wanted because my body would know what to do with it. And another thing I did too, I would eat something crappy only after I worked out really hard because I wanted my body to not just store it in fat pockets but be have no other choice but to use it to fuel muscle growth. And you know, you're going to need some calories, not just proteins. You're going to need calories, you're going to need carbs to fuel that muscle growth. Otherwise, nothing will happen. Now, what I do, because now I'm 34, I have to be careful with my hormones now. So what I do, once or twice a week, I will drag my fasting out for maybe 16, 18 hours. During that time, I drink a lot of coffee with nothing. So I drink my coffee black with ice cubes. And I'll just do that every time I feel like I'm hungry. I'll also drink water during the process. I will not break it. Now, sometimes if I want to be drastic, I will go ahead and take a break from work and I'll work out for an hour. I'll use lighter weights, but I'll do a lot of time under tension. Um, and then I'll also have my amino acids then. Now, the thing about that is the amino acid breaks the fast, but at the same time, I'm not working out fasted because now I'm feeding my body. So during this process, your body's breaking down fat, but it's also going to break down muscles, and that's what you're trying to run from. So during that period, I just, I help my body out with the muscle part by giving it amino acids. So instead of turning my muscles into amino acids, it's getting the amino acids straight from my digestive system because it doesn't necessarily have to go through your liver. And that's what I do. I don't do it all the time because, as I said, your body will tend to break down your muscles if you work out fasted all the time. Some people do it and nothing happens, but for me, I know my body. I can tell the difference. My muscles become softer and you know, and my body just looks weird. Um, what I usually do, I used to be able to have like 3,500 calories a day and nothing happens, but now my metabolism is slowed down a bit because number one, I'm getting older, and number two, I don't work out as hard as I used to because I don't want to destroy my joints and ligaments and stuff. But so now my basal metabolic rate, I think, is 2,100 something. I don't remember. It's not as high. It used to be 2,900 something. So it's lower now. So now I gotta watch what I eat, and I also have to watch when I eat it. So now I'm going to make fried chicken, but I'm gonna watch the fat content of it, and I'm also gonna just have that once. So tomorrow I will eat normally because I'm gonna do chest. So I need to have enough fuel to fuel that workout. Otherwise, I'm not gonna produce enough stimulation for muscle growth. Even though I'll admit I'm not really growing anything, but thank God I have not lost any muscle. But I need to keep creating stimulation so I can keep what I have and maybe grow a little more. I don't know. I also switched from whey protein because for some reason my body wasn't working right with it. I was still getting fat. So now I do vegan protein. It tastes like dirt, but I just chug it. It's not to be savored. I also do eggs, but I do whole eggs, and that's because of my I'm doing it for my testosterone. Um, and also something I've noticed. So I used to, the issue I was having with my body constantly burning through sugar, that was hypoglycemia. And a lot of times I've heard from medical professionals that sometimes it's an indication that later on in life you will become diabetic type 2. Um, Now I don't have that problem. I can starve myself a whole day. And in fact, when I do that, I actually feel amazing. The only problem is when I break that fast, I better break it with something healthy because I'm going to feel like crap. But yeah, if you have any other comments or whatever, and if you would want me to explain more about this diet, let me know.